name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick. I'm here with my business partner, Andrea McKinney. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about CBD. We've brought this up in the past, so join us and give us the old smiley face. Maybe thumbs up, a little star, the heart, or whatever you need to do. How you doing this morning, Andrea?
I'm great, Doc. Is it getting warmer out there?
What do you consider warm?
Well, it's been like 50s here, so we are loving it.
50s. Holy cow. Yeah, that would be nice.
Now the girls at the college are laying out in their bikinis already, so. In Michigan, we do it early.
I guess. Wow. Yesterday, I think we got up to, just above melting.
Oh, well, I'm glad I'm in Michigan then.
Yeah, but we really need it, because if all of this snow that we got, if it would have been 50 degrees the last week, we would have had a major flood because it would have come rushing at us. The water would have come rushing at us.
Right. You live right by the river.
Yeah, so there's advantages to what we have, this slow melting and then refreezing. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, hey, did you order your Sisel CBD?
I sure did.
Did you get it?
Not yet.
This is what it comes in.
Oh, that's a cute little canister.
Yeah, check this out. So you open this thing up, right? And there's the product.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's, I'll just show everybody on here. On the little dropper deal. Oh.
There you go. You lick that up. That's gold. There you go.
But on the dropper, there's little measurements on it. And we'll talk a little bit about that today, about dosing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So important.
I looked a few things up. In the package, you'll get this little brochure. It talks about it. And you can go to the what do they call those little things? The QR code or whatever. And you can click on that, and that'll bring up the COE. Let me show you what that is. Are you familiar with COEs at all?
No, I'm not. Certificate of something, right? Certificate
of analysis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's can you see that?
I can, yes.
So that's the certificate of analysis, and we've actually got 2 different outside labs that have tested our product for quality. So you can see here, you can see that, how much THC, how much CBD, how much of the other things, and they guarantee it. So this is from an outside lab. That one happens to be from Iron Laboratories in Michigan.
Awesome.
West Maple Wall Lake in Michigan.
Oh, Walled Lake. Yeah, it's down near Detroit.
Okay. And then here's another one. This is from Las Vegas, Nevada, DB Labs, Certificate of Analysis. And so they do the same thing. They basically test for pesticides, microbiomes in it, and mycotoxins, heavy metals, foreign matter, and solvents. So they're looking for.
That's important. That's very important. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. I was just reading about the problems they're having in Colorado, and you made a comment on that on my Facebook post that these companies are making products and they're not guaranteeing what's in them.
Right. And they use solvents to process. Some companies do. So you're introducing toxins to the product.
That's right. Well, and on top of it, the plant itself can be sprayed with toxins. And you go out to Colorado, and where it's recreational use, the same thing in Washington and Oregon, a couple other states, and it's recreational use, and they're, smoking it. When you burn those chemicals, what are you burning?
Right. Arsenic.
Arsenic, amongst other things, right? I mean,
well, when you're talking about smoking it, you're actually talking about marijuana, legalized marijuana, where this is CBD. That's different. It's from the hemp plant.
But,
But I
a
mean, it
lot
can
of,
still be, have pollution in it. It can
that's right. A lot of people don't know. And so this comes from the hemp, but really when we're talking about CBD, we gotta talk about it all, in my opinion.
Really?
Well, because they're so closely related, the plants are so closely related. Otherwise, people are gonna think, oh yeah, I got the same thing.
Oh, I see what you're going at. Yeah.
Right, and we don't want them to think that. And so if they're out there getting a plant, and it's loaded up with pesticides, how do you know? So here, look at this on the certificate of analysis. We actually test for those things.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we test we
like I
test for arsenic. Look at that, we test for that.
yeah, like I stated on your wall there, I actually visited a plant grower store a few years ago when I was promoting some product to get rid of toxins. And I walked in, talked to him about it, and he pointed to like 15 bags of fertilizer sitting right there in his store going, oh, everybody that I have as a grower needs that, because he says they're putting all this fertilizer on their plants and it's all full of arsenic.
Right.
I was like, oh my God. So
What's wrong with that? A lot of people, they buy it, they don't realize, they think, oh, it's plant-based, it's got to be good for you.
yeah, only if it's produced correctly.
Yeah, so that's why I like this, and so I show this page. Here's our page off the Sisel website. Sisel Safe CBD full spectrum hemp extract, and it goes on to say that it talks about cannabinoids, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. And it talks about the history of it, that in the 1990s they discovered the endocannabinoid system, which is CB1, CB2. And it helps with, the studies showed it helps with skin, the GI tract, reproduction, immune system, nervous system. And we'll talk about that as well. It talks about neurotransmitters, right? You know what neurotransmitters are?
Yeah, they're communication signals.
The chemicals in your brain. The
Mhm.
chemicals in your brain. And so they're talking about here on the website, on the Sisel website, it says that it influences these receptors positively to moderate inflammation, pain perception, and body temperature. We'll talk about that too. I was reading up on some things this morning. It increases the amount of this anandamide, the bliss molecule, right? Didn't you talk about that 2 weeks ago?
What was that?
This anandamide.
No, I don't think so. I've never heard that term before.
Oh,
Oh, the
well,
bliss molecule, because it makes you feel good. Like
yeah.
that's what the THC in marijuana like connects to, because it makes you feel really good,
Yeah.
So
So it
hemp has
talks,
the same property.
yeah. So it has some of those properties, right? And so when we take a look at it, bottom line is in this bottle right here, there's 1,500 milligrams per bottle, right? It's not 1,500 milligrams per dose. We got to get that into people's heads. It's not per dose, it's per bottle.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to do 1,500 per dose.
You do a very tiny drop.
You would be very, very blissed out.
Well, I don't know. Because it's CBD, it's not THC, but yeah, you probably would. But it has the other cannabinoids, it has the terpenes, the vitamins, and then we mix it with some fatty acids, some other good minerals, and so our product comes from non-GMO farmed, organically raised, and they don't use pesticides, no chemicals, no herbicides, none of that stuff.
That's important.
Yeah, I think that's important, and that's one thing that I like to point out to people, that a lot of people, they'll look at the label, and they'll look at here and they'll see what's in it. But what they don't look at is they don't realize that sometimes it's not just what's in it that's important. Sometimes it's just as important to know what's not in it.
Right. I have, I've heard friends say, oh, Joe Smo down here makes it in his garage. I just get it from him.
Right. Yeah, it's like those chocolate brownies that I used to get from John.
Well, it's probably not as safe as your chocolate brownies.
No, it's not.
Because they have to cook it down. They have to extract it and, condense it.
That's
So
right.
they're using solvents, they're using different things. Plus you don't, like you said, you don't know the source of the plant itself, and if they're growing it like the guy in the grow store and they're throwing fertilizer on it, of course they're getting toxins in it.
That's right. So on the bottom of the label here, I need to point this out. My brother brought it up. My brother has a construction company. He's got a lot of heavy equipment operators. He's got truck drivers working for him. And so he asked me, he said, well, does it make you fail a drug test?
Right.
And here's what Sisel has right on the website and right on the product. I mean, the thing that we have to realize is that even though it's allowed to be sold, state by state, and there's certain states like Idaho, Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota that you can't use CBD, you can't sell it in those states. There's still a federal law prohibiting the use.
I thought the new federal law was that it is all legalized.
And there's still some gray areas in it. And so when I was reading up on it this morning, they said that, you have to still kind of be careful. So if you get in trouble, you could still have some trouble from it. Some states, they actually allow 5% of THC, 5% to be in the product.
Okay. So let's talk about that a minute. How it
Well, wait, but before we get into that, let's just mention this here, that kind of these warnings, the warnings with it, some studies show that it can have different effects with kids. So, if you're under the age of 18, you want to consult with your doctor. If you're pregnant, you probably don't want to use it. If you're nursing, you probably don't want to use it. Certain conditions, you probably don't want to use it. Yesterday, my friend Alan Hordell out of Canada, he sent me a list of all these different medications and that you don't want to be using CBD if you're on these medications. And I mean, oh wow, they listed like practically every medication. So they're really saying if you're on medication, don't take CBD. But
of course they do.
Yeah, and that's just their way of protecting themselves. And if you're a company owner, if you own Sisel or any other CBD manufacturing company, you're going to want to cover your butt, your CYA, so that you protect yourself and just make sure that you just say, hey, look, if you're taking another medication, we don't know how they interact.
Well, I would suggest they call their pharmacist, not their doctor, because the pharmacists are the experts in medication, not doctors.
Right, and that's true.
They're going to know anything.
Right, the doctors are just going to try and sound smart. But so here's what they say in answer to my brother Chris. If you're watching, this is what it says. It says that we comply with all the regulations for minimal amount of THC content, less than 0.3% by volume. And it says while most drug screenings don't detect the presence of CBD or cannabidiols, and the hemp plant contains very little THC, studies have shown that consuming hemp-based products may cause a positive result on a drug test. And
so you're people who are regularly tested in factories and truck drivers and nurses, medical field people, things like that. If they were to take CBD, our CBD, they would want to, go to their head people and say, hey, I'm taking this product and just want you to know. Is that what you would recommend?
Yeah, and that's what it says right here on our Sisel website. It says, we recommend that prior to consuming Sisel Safe CBD full spectrum hemp extract, you consult with your healthcare practitioner, your drug screening / testing company, or your employer.
Right. So I thought I heard something about, Sisel has been spending like 2 years getting this government approved. What does that mean, government approved?
Well, so so many companies out there, they you know, like your buddy that makes it in his bathtub, right?
Mhm.
He's boiling down, doing whatever, mixing it in there with God knows what. Um, you don't know the actual levels of the THC. You don't know the levels of the CBD. Dr. Oz did a study, or not really a study. He just did a show on it. I mean, you know, Dr. Oz, and you know, hey, did you know that's how I got my name, Doc Fizz?
I did. Dr. Oz and Dr. Fizz.
Doc Fizz,
Love
Doc Fizz. Yeah.
Doc
So
Fizz.
he went with Dr. Oz, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go with Doc Fizz. But anyhow, so he did a show on CBD oils, and what he found, and I don't remember how many he had on his show, but when he tested them, he found like 70% of them didn't contain the amount of CBD that they said they contained.
Yeah, well, that's important.
Another percentage of them didn't contain any CBD at all.
Really? So you're just like taking in vegetable oil or something.
Right? I mean, or something. Yeah, let's go with or something.
Seed oil.
Right? Who knows what they put in there? And then a certain amount of them contained like extremely high amounts, and then they had, I mean, varied levels of THC and all these other different things. So, you know, bottom line is that you know, you got to know what you're getting, and that's why I trust this brand. Soon as I heard that Sisel was coming out with this, and I heard about it like 3 months ago. As soon as I heard that they were coming out with it, I was like, holy cow, yep, I want some of that.
Right. Well, you know, just like all Sizzle products, we understand the quality of the ingredients, and, you know, that Tom won't settle for anything less than top quality. So
That's right.
you got
That's
to
right.
know it's safe.
Yep. So his son, Tom Jr., started working on this and started getting certified. You were asking about the federal certification. So what
Mhm.
that certification is basically the FDA comes in there and makes sure that that the product is exactly whatever is listed on this label
Mhm.
is what's in this product. Nothing more, nothing less. And then we have the COA, the certificate of analysis, and on top of that, you know, we're a GMP manufacturer. You know what that means?
Tell me again.
So GMP means that you're guaranteeing that what's in there is exactly what's in there, and that if the FDA comes in and pulls your product off the shelf and tests it, that's what they're going to find in there. They're not going to find something else.
Oh, guaranteed manufactured product. Is that what you?
Guaranteed good manufacturing practices.
Oh, okay.
What it stands for, yeah. And so it's like one of the highest ratings that the FDA gives to a nutritional manufacturer. It's like the FDA's, you know, sign of approval. You're okay.
Okay.
You know, and people say, well, you know, aren't vitamins FDA regulated? Well, yeah, to a certain extent, they're regulated for safety. You know, if all of a sudden you start having a product, let's say that ABC company starts making a product and everybody's getting sick from taking it, yeah, they're gonna step in and say, what's wrong?
Right. But I thought like supplements weren't regulated by FDA.
Right, they're not regulated unless there's a problem.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, but GMP is a step above supplements. GMP means that the FDA's come in and they're actually testing our products, and they're saying whatever we're saying is in this is in this.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and that's important. Wouldn't you say that's important to you and your family?
Very.
Yeah, really important.
I'm trying to get and stay healthy and keep my health span long, not deteriorate it.
Yeah. So CBD seems to be all the rage. You know, it seems to be like there's gummy bears. Like I was just watching on the news last night. Jelly Belly Jelly Beans is coming out with their own CBD product.
I saw that.
Wow. Right?
I wonder if they're GMP.
Like, you know, now we're going to have our little kids eating Jelly Belly Jelly Beans that are loaded with CBD. And how much THC?
Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's some, you had that caution about children taking it, but honestly, I have seen so many good results from children taking CBD. I have a very good friend on Facebook whose son's life was totally changed with it. So
Yeah. Well, and there's a need for it. It's just that you don't want to just throw it at them and say, here, little Billy, here's your CBD, go take it. Right. I mean, you want there, and we're going to talk a little bit about dosage and things like that. So I just kind of wrote up some notes on it. I mean, it seems to be all the rage, but there seems to be some confusion on it. Like, I've been out to Washington and I bought some CBD products out there. I bought some edibles because I thought, that's for my leg and for my back pain. So I bought some mint, some mints with CBD.
okay.
And yeah, I mean, the results were like minimal.
Yeah.
It really didn't cover up the pain. I mean, some days, yes, if I took it soon enough, it seemed to help. But most days it was like, yeah, But I mean, you've got, like I said, you've got products like that just they can have very little CBD in it. And they put very little in the so you don't know, and that's why I like, again, we know when the label comes and it says this is what's in it, we know that's what's in it, so you gotta kind of look at it's kind of a process when you decide that you're going to do it. First thing that I'm going to say is that you should really look at your symptoms, analyze yourself, analyze what's really wrong with me? How bad is my pain? Rated on a scale of, say, 1 to 100 or, something like that. And mark it down. And then what you want to do is then you want to take like the CBD and take a small dose, like start out with a small dose. And I just was, I wrote this down here. Let me find where I wrote that. So 1 milligram for every 10 pounds of body weight. That's what you would start with.
Okay.
1 milligram per 10 pounds of body weight. So, so when you start out, let's say you're a 200-pound man, and so you would use 20 milligrams, and that would be your starting dose. And so what they're saying is, use it for a few days at that level, and see what kind of results you're getting. Does it manage the pain? Does it manage it for a little bit and then it goes away? Does it seem to get rid of the pain all the time? And so they're saying that at that rate, then, if the pain or if your symptoms, again, you might not be taking it for pain, you might be taking it for other symptoms, but if it manages symptoms every single time you take it, they're saying that what you should try and do is reduce it by 25%.
And see if you get the same result.
See if you get the same results, because now you've just effectively lowered the dose for yourself, and then and then you stay on that for a while. If that seems to manage your pain, reduce it again by 25% and see what that does. Because we're all different. We all process cannabinoids at a different rate, and so we react to it differently. So what you want to do is you want to regulate it that way. Now, let's say that your symptoms go away for a short period of time, but then they tend to come back. What would you do in that case?
You would increase it a little bit.
By 25%.
Okay.
Right. And so that's kind of what they're saying. And now this is based on using CBD without any medication. If you're taking medication, it changes the CBD.
Really?
Yeah, it alters it because they haven't really tested CBD with a lot of medications. And so when we're saying 20 milligrams for a 200-pound person, 10 pounds per 10 milligrams per 10 pounds. The thing about it is that's non-medicated use. If you're medicated, you might want to start lower and go up based on that.
Okay.
Again, because it affects it differently. We all have different effects and that. So then now people ask me, they say, well, what about redosing? Like if I take it in the morning and then say I want to do some more this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever heard of something called a half-life?
Yes.
Well, how would you describe half-life?
Something goes in your system and in a certain period of time, it's like becomes neutral. It doesn't work anymore. Like
Okay.
if you had a stress test for your heart, they put in, I think, some type of dye, and there's a half-life to that dye, so that
Right.
it can stay in there.
Yeah. So what a half-life is a half-life is basically how long does it take for half of the effects to or elimination of half of the product. And so with CBD oil, a half-life is 18 to 32 hours, depending on the person.
Really?
18 to 32 hours. I mean, that's a big range when you think about it. I mean, that's a 1.25, 1.25 days for some people.
So are you saying that you would only take it like every 2 days?
No. What I'm saying is that because there's a certain half-life. Let's say that it stays in your body for so if the half-life is 18 hours, that means in 4 hours only 10 to 20% has been eliminated.
Okay.
Right? And so you could have some of the effects of the CBD in your body up to, say, a day. Let's say a little bit more than a day. That way I don't have to keep saying 1.25. So we'll say just a little bit more than a day, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So if you're redosing, if you took it this morning, say at 8 o'clock, and then tonight before you go to bed, say at 10 o'clock, you want to redose, you got to remember that you haven't even eliminated half of it yet.
Okay.
So now when you
I used to take it, I used to do it in the morning and at night when I went to bed.
And so what they're saying, what the experts or what the scientists are saying is that at night, then you actually want to use a smaller dose because you still have some of it in your system from this morning.
Okay.
And if you take it again tomorrow and you think, wait, I felt really good yesterday, I'm going to take some again today. Now you've still got some left from yesterday morning, and you've got some left over from last night in your system yet, and you're taking it again, this morning. So now you've got the effects of three. You got partial dosage from 2 doses,
Mm-hmm.
and you got the full effects of the 3rd dose.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's important. So again, you got to kind of play around with your body. And so then people ask me, they say, well, how long does it take to work? Well, CBD actually goes to work if you take it. There's different forms, if you're doing it, inhaled and things like that. If you vape it, it goes right in. It within minutes, right? 2 to 3 minutes. But then the half-life is less, right? But when you ingest it, to get it to be fully absorbed into the system, it takes 4 hours to actually be fully absorbed.
Okay.
So this product,
it would depend on the people taking it, basically, because you do get cannabinoids from certain foods and stuff, so you don't know.
That's right.
Everybody's got a different level. What we do know is we have these receptors all over our body, and that they need cannabinoids to keep you healthy. It brings your body back into homeostasis. So
that's right. That's
it's
right.
Like we talked before, it's been denied information in the health field. Only 13% of the medical schools even probably mention the cannabinoid system to up and coming doctors. So
yeah, and they'll be teaching it more because they have to, because when their patients come in and their patients are taking a CBD type of product, they got to know what the results are. So
right.
So the doctors are going to have to learn it. It's just like, I was a chiropractor, but I had to know about antidepressants. I had to know about SSRIs because when they first started showing up in the system back 30 years ago, if I didn't know what was going on, if I didn't know how those things work, how was I going to effectively treat my patient?
Right.
So even though I wasn't prescribing them, I had to know what's going on with it. So, when we're talking about CBD, I was saying that I've used the mints before, and I didn't really see much effect at all. Like, more of a placebo. I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like my pain's reduced, things like that. But I mean, after I started realizing it's like, well, there's so little CBD in there, really, it's not doing much at all. So, but I used this last night when I was outside working. I was shoveling some of this heavy, wet snow, trying to get it so that when it does start melting, that it's gonna flow out of my yard, so I don't have big puddles of water.
Right.
So I was opening up the culvert, and so when I got in, I mean, my leg was hurting, my back was hurting, my neck was hurting, and my Sisel Safe CBD had just arrived. The FedEx guy had just shown up, and so I opened it up and I took just like I said, I took 20 milligrams, and within 15 minutes, I felt better.
Yeah. Did you sleep well last night?
Holy cow, did I sleep good.
You sleep great with CBD oil.
Oh man, I tell you what, I woke up this morning and I was like that. I mean, it felt like I had one of the best nights of sleep that I've had in a long time.
Right.
And and so when you're looking at sleep, when you're looking at it, I wrote down a couple things there because I figured, since I had better sleep, is everybody else gonna feel that? And so as I was reading about CBD this morning, they said that CBD actually has a lot of studies with effectiveness for insomnia.
Yeah. Yeah. And just about everybody over the age of 50 has insomnia nowadays.
Yeah, and so the advantage of it is that it's unlike the SSRI type drugs, the Ambiens, the benzodiazepines, things like that. It doesn't change your normal sleep cycles, so you're not trading quantity for quality. CBD, you're getting better sleep, and you're sleeping longer at the same time.
Yeah.
I like that.
Deep sleep. It's good and healthy.
Like
yeah.
So when it comes to dosing, if you're taking it for sleep, you can actually take more. Right? You can actually, they say you could take 20% more than you would if you're taking it during the daytime.
Good to know.
That's pretty good to know, isn't it? And the thing about CBD, it doesn't make you it doesn't make you so that you're groggy in the morning. And it says that if you're having a problem with sleep maintenance, like me, I tend to be a light sleeper. If a squirrel runs by my house half a mile away, I can hear him. It wakes me up.
Well, that's because you're a hunter.
But I hear that it's like, oh, is that squirrel?
Shall I get my gun?
And but little things wake me up like that, and so they're saying that if you're trying to have better sleep maintenance, CBD is a lot better for you than any kind of a drug.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I won't bring it up, but yeah, I was addicted to one of those for a couple of years.
Were you really?
Yeah, took me 2 months to get unaddicted.
Yeah, when I was in the hospital after my motorcycle wreck, I didn't sleep very well, but mainly the main reason I didn't sleep very well is because the hospital was trying to kill me. But that's another story.
They wanted to take your leg.
Well, no, they actually
were afraid to wake up without your leg.
I think they wanted me to be an organ donor or something. Oh, he's dead. Let's take his heart. But anyhow, I was really nervous because there was a few things that happened that shouldn't have happened when I was in the hospital, and so I didn't sleep very good at night. And so after about the, I don't know, I want to say the third week in the hospital, and for folks that don't know me, I was in the hospital for 2 months after a motorcycle wreck. But after a couple of weeks, they came in with this bottle of Ambien, and they said, "Oh, we're going to give these to you at night." And I
That's
said,
what they did to me. That's
and
how
I
I looked on it.
and I looked at them and I shook my head and I said, "No." I said, "I'm not going to take them." They said, "Oh no, you're going to take them." And like, really? You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how I got hooked. Oh, some doctor gave me free samples and I was having a hard time sleeping and knocked me right out. And I went, this is great. So we
Yeah.
just kept getting it. And before you knew it, I couldn't live without it. The problem was you're so knocked out. For me, I was so knocked out, I couldn't have my grandchildren come spend the night because if any emergency happened in my home, I wouldn't wake up to get them out. Like if there was a fire or anything, I couldn't get them out.
Right.
I wouldn't wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a good alternative to that, you know, and you know, different people, different things, but they're saying that a product like what Sisel has is probably one of the best products for that. And the reason is because we've got a high CBD to THC ratio. The ratio is more weighted toward the CBD. When you're looking at different conditions, you want to balance them out, maybe more of a 1-to-1. But when you're looking at sleeping problems, the CBD ratio being higher is actually better. And the same thing when they're talking about PTSD, they're finding that CBD is better for PTSD, and it has fewer side effects than the drugs that they're prescribing. So wouldn't you want to try it?
Yeah, actually, I have my cousin's son had 3 tours in Afghanistan and has PTSD, and he told me last summer the VA is actually giving that out to them now, CBD.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. Good. We're moving in the right direction, I think. You know, and then when it talks about CBD, they say that it's got really good anti-inflammatory effects.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard tons of stories about that, and you know, I actually sold a CBD product about 4 or 5 years ago, and I had people with some really good results for anti-inflammation.
Yeah, and we can't say that there's studies on our product. We can't say studies on the Sizzle Safe CBD. But what we can say is that the extract from hemp, CBD, has studies on it that say that it has some good anti-inflammatory effects, and inflammation has been implicated in every chronic health condition. Every chronic health condition.
Really?
Yeah. So Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, heart disease, arthritis.
I saw a couple of years ago that there's countries in South America that have government approved CBD oil for Parkinson's and epilepsy.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So United States, get on the ball.
Yeah. So, and then they talked about again, this is this isn't on our product. I'm trying to make that very clear to people that you can't make any claims on Sizzle CBD. All we can do is make claims on the actual CBD itself, generically CBD. And they talked about, you know, how CBD helps with autophagy. You know what autophagy is?
I do not.
Autophagy, getting rid of the old, dead, dying cells.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and apoptosis. You know what apoptosis is,
I
eh?
certainly do.
That's when they.
Or
Boom.
you say boom. You
Yep.
say implodes.
They implode.
Implodes
Yeah.
those bad C cells.
Yeah, and so it protects your body by doing that. They're showing that you know, in their studies, again, now this is short-term effects. In their studies on CBD, they're saying short-term effects on high blood pressure. It might temporarily lower high blood pressure.
Well, you know, that one article I looked at, it said we all need cannabinoids. And without cannabinoids being fulfilled in those receptors, you get disease and illness.
That's right. That's right. And then there's a pilot study going on right now where they're actually studying the use of CBD with autistic spectrum.
Oh, yeah, it helps with that. I have seen much art, information about it helping. In fact, that was kind of the situation with my friend there, her son. His entire life has been changed.
Yeah. So, again, you're looking at gummy bears, you're looking at mints, you're looking at oils, you're looking at water based, you're looking at this, you're looking at that, your buddy makes you a brownie, whatever, right? and so what makes a tincture better?
Quality, what we've been talking about, purity. And
Well, yeah, quality is because it comes from Sisel.
mm-hmm.
Right? Because you could have tinctures that are made by another company that don't necessarily have the quality. But what makes a tincture better? They say that it actually lasts longer in your body. It actually helps you for it has
Versus all the other stuff is what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's kind of like an essential oil. You can put an essential oil on the bottom of your feet and it will be all through your body in just seconds.
Yeah, because it absorbs. And what they're saying is that the absorption is consistent. It's consistent. It's not like you're going to take it today and it's going to be in your body really quickly, and then you take it tomorrow and it just kind of slowly goes in. It's going to be consistently how it's absorbed. That's important to know too.
Yeah.
And then as I was reading about the tinctures, they did say it's really important to take your bottle and swirl it.
Dance with it.
Swirl it, right? Because if you don't swirl it for a little bit, what happens is that some of the solids that are suspended in oil can settle in the bottom. So you want to swirl it up, mix it up good each time you use it, so you get that consistency with it, and so I'm just kind of quickly going through some of these notes that I wrote here. Again, 1 milligram for 10 pounds of body weight. At night, you can do 1.2. They say all the way up to 2 milligrams per 10 pounds of body weight. And again, that's without any medication use. So you got to kind of judge it for yourself. You got to try it and see. And then, like I said, when you're self figuring out what dosage, look at how you've responded. If you're responding really good, cut back a little bit. See if you get the same response. If you did, you can cut back. If you're not getting good response, you can bump it up. Some people ask me, they say, well, what about side effects? Are there any side effects?
Are there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is. Some people can, take vitamin C and have side effects, right?
Right.
So yeah, there are some side effects. Some people might notice that they're drowsy, and so if you have a job where you're going to be driving for a long period, if you're going to be driving all day today, you might not want to take the CBD, right?
Well, I think you could vary. You could play with the amount that you take.
Right. You gotta kind of look at that yourself. But if you don't know, if your product arrives today and you got to drive to Michigan from North Dakota,
we'll take it on the weekend when you don't drive. Right?
Yeah, take it on the weekend. Dizziness. It can sometimes CBD can cause people to be a little dizzy. Some people can get a little bit of diarrhea from it. Some people can feel nauseous from it. CBD can have a mild to a small effect on mood. It can make some people hungry. It can make some people so they aren't hungry.
You just have to play with it.
It is. And most people notice that it helps with anxiety, but some people notice that it increases anxiety.
Oh, really? I haven't heard too much about that. If you take too much, I think.
Well, I don't even know. I don't even know if it's if you take too much. I think that it's just that, we're all wired up different.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, but I've seen people who have said, oh my gosh, the anxiety is like this topic we don't normally talk about too much, but there is a lot of people suffering from anxiety out there. And sometimes they don't even know they're suffering from anxiety, but if you're around them, you know they are, you know.
Right.
So you know, and I've seen a lot of people say, oh man, they just, it was like night and day difference for them to
Yeah.
function. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you know, folks, we're getting, I mean, we've actually talked 45 minutes already, Andrea.
Oh, time to
But
quit.
yeah, but you know, we're talking about CBD today, and we're kind of really focusing on this product, the Sizzle Safe CBD, and the reason that we're focusing on this one, folks, is because you know when Sizzle comes out with a product, when Supernaturals, our manufacturing plant, comes out with a product, you can be guaranteed that what it says on the bottle,
Mhm.
what it says on the packaging, what it says on the label, that's what's in there.
Right.
And we are talking about CBD. They're finding that that's so important. So much so that a lot of credit card companies have actually started um, cutting. They won't be your credit card processor for your company anymore if you sell CBD. Did you know that?
I heard something about that. Yes.
Yeah, and I was talking to Tom the other day about that with our Sizzle Safe CBD, and I said, "Are we going to have to worry about that?" And he said, "Absolutely not," because they met with their bank, and the bank said because we are guaranteeing that what's in there, how much THC and how much CBD, all of that, and we've actually got we've had the inspection by the FDA, and we basically had them come in and check everything out. That they're not going to cause any trouble for us that way. So that's important to know too.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, and so you know, folks, this is a product. I took it last night. I felt great. I'm going to use it. I'm going to recommend it as far as CBD type of product. I feel comfortable with it. I feel comfortable with with recommending this product.
Well, that's important.
Right? And I think your doctor would too. So you know, I mean, let's get the word on that because really, you know, when it comes to recommending medical marijuana, um, is it actually the medical marijuana that's the most important, or is it the CBD? And a lot of people will tell you, a lot of scientists will tell you that it actually is the CBD and the other cannabidiols that are found in the product, and it's not necessarily the marijuana.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So here we got a product that's guaranteed to have the potency that says it does on the bottle, um, and it's made right. It's made right. Hey, did you know this? Check this out. Have you seen this on your Sizzle website?
No, I
CBD
did not.
full spectrum warming CBD lotion. I was just kind of goofing around on my Sizzle website, and I noticed that CBD full spectrum warming CBD lotion. Of course, there's no picture of it yet because I don't think it's available yet.
Awesome.
But it's already on the back office, and so so here's what it says. Here's the ingredients of it. So it's got water, butylene glycol, which is a safe form of a glycol. It's surfactant or whatever. It's got a wintergreen leaf oil, um, and shea butter. Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's gonna be great. That is
yeah,
gonna be great.
yeah, yeah. Isn't that so? So I didn't know if you had seen that, but a lot of people hadn't seen that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I thought that was important as I was reading through this morning and kind of going through that. But you know, Andrea, thanks for joining me again this morning. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you, Doc. Every Tuesday we're on here, right? At noon Eastern time.
And I think we'll be doing a live. We'll be doing a live broadcast in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks from now, right in Michigan.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna do a tour. Have we named that tour yet?
I don't know. I think we'll just keep going with the old without age or
Old
age.
without age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you think of that?
Old without age. Yeah. Anything to increase our health span, right?
That's right. The health span. That's the important key to it. So I'll let you close out the call. Thanks, everyone. Share
Thank
often.
you. Thank you, folks, for joining us today. And we hope that you decide to join us every Tuesday. And know that if you're seeing this and you're not connected to Doctor's Clinic, Doc Fizz and Friends page, ask the person where you saw that information to connect you and invite you so you can tune in and listen to us live on Tuesdays. And if, for instance, you have to work, you can't be here when we're doing it live, it's always available in the page so that you can watch it later. We really appreciate you coming in, commenting on the lives. Even when you're watching it as a replay, go ahead and comment in there, ask questions, or make comments. We really appreciate that. So have a wonderful day. Happy spring.
Bye-bye.
Bye.